Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to talk about Reforge stones. So whether you're preparing for the Sovereign Offhand or you're at the stage of the game where you're going into Sovereign in general, so main hand, awakening and all that stuff, I wanted to talk about what I have, why I chose what I did, and what would be for you. So a lot of reasons why I wanted to talk about this. One, because it's probably a good idea to start preparing now before the prices of things get kind of crazy. And also, as of next week, they're changing a lot of the AP formulas and damage numbers for various grind spots and everything. So they're kind of toning down the species damage because they're giving people with over, 310 AP more. So a lot of things are going to be changing. We talked about this in the patch notes video. I'll leave a link in the description if you care about me talking about it and giving my opinions in full detail. But anyway, I think people might be switching up some of the Reforge stones, and I think, over the next few weeks, people are going to be doing a lot of testing. So I want to talk about what I think would be good. All right, so first and foremost, if you are a PvPer or you happen to be using some of the like CC Reforged ones, which are like the green ones, so ignore some sort of CC or special attack. I believe these are getting removed next patch, and they're going to compensate us with silver. So basically, whatever amount of silver they think it's worth, whatever, if you have these stones in your inventory or just anything, they're removing it, giving us silver. Because they're removing resistances altogether, and we're gonna have to see how that plays out. I don't know. Seems like a good thing overall, but we'll see how PvP changes with these. But anyway, let me show you what I have in my main and awakening weapons right now, and what I'm gonna be using for my offhand. So both of them, I use the same things, but I think I'm gonna switch it around. For all classes, usually more damage is the way to go. But for people who are at the higher end of the gear and going way past the cap, I think we can start toning it down for PvE. But if you're doing PvP, obviously more damage, better. And so it really just depends on what you're doing. So in general, for most people, all AP is going to be the way to go. Simply because more damage, better. If you are way over a cap for a spot, they want you to go to a new area. And then I also have crit rate and crit damage. Not all classes need crit rate. Some do. DK does. And then I have back attacks and Black Spirit recovery on both of them. So I wanted to talk about some other alternatives and, things that I might be changing to. So how do you know which ones are good and which ones you should get? When you look at all of these, the ones that are kind of sold out or have low quantity are generally the ones that are higher value. And the ones that are sitting at like 5,000 of them usually are the ones that are not wanted. So just to give you an idea. But anyway, back attack damage is probably the best one of the special attacks. Like there's down and air attack. Obviously crit damage is also good, but back attack works for everyone. Whereas if you're trying to use down attack and air, that only works for like obviously PvP and very specific PvE spots, whereas back attack works for literally everything. Crit damage, always good for basically everyone. Crit damage just means your crit damage is higher. And then Black Spirit recovery or Black Spirit Rage recovery allows you to get your 100 faster, and obviously you do more damage with it, get more trash loot, and popping 200s is kind of crazy in PvP. So this is just overall a good one. So for most people, I would say all AP, back attack, crit damage, Black Spirit Rage is always good. And now you have one flex spot. So depending on your class, you could either use all damage reduction, crit rate, and if you really want more, depending on the grind spot, you could always add more in terms of down and air, but I just don't think it's really overall worth it, because most people just want to get 5 and then set it and then not have to think about it ever again. So one thing I've tested over, since these came out was all damage reduction and max HP. And if you're an evasion player, you probably are using all evasion. So it's 2025. If these have been released years ago, I would have said HP is also good. But the truth is, if you're doing like some sort of damage scaling, so if you have more DR, it's probably better to stack DR. Whereas like I don't know the 100% formula on how this actually works, because it's not like one damage reduction equals X amount of HP and damage. There's a lot of factors into it. So I think all damage reduction, or if you're an evasion player, all evasion will always be better than HP. That's unfortunate, unless they raise this number from 200 to like something significant, like 1,000 or something. It might actually be competitive, but with 200, it's just not. So, here's how you know if crit rate is for you. So first of all, crit rate, I think one thing they should add over here in your stats is like your crit rate. So they don't have it. It should be base 50, right? And then like from all your skills, like base is 50. And then do you have extra buffs? If you're full buffed, you should have, or like everything, you should have another 18% from crit rate. And then if you have 2 of these, that's another 10%. So that would be 70. And then if you have some add-ons that can give you like crit rate, usually that's 100, assuming you're keeping this up 100% of the time. So that's where you get your 100 from, plus all extra buffs and whatever that also give it. But with that said, where's the 50 from? Basically, you look at all your skills. It doesn't matter what class you're playing, and you see how it is a crit rate of this one. Airstrike would be 60%, and like Wheel of Fortune for me is 50. Whereas some classes have straight up like 100% for everything or almost everything. In Dark Knight's case, you do need a little bit if you're not keeping your crit rate uptime up to 100 at all times, which you should be. So yeah, that's why I use that one. However, with that said, I think I might actually drop a little bit of overall damage for some defensive, because I also do more than grinding. I do my Black Shrine bosses every week. Sometimes the solo ones get kind of sketch if you're doing especially like 9 and 10s. And I don't know how much it'll help, but I'll test it once again. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. And here's how you can get them yourself. And if you haven't done any bosses, here's how you do it. So you go to your quest tab, you see the reoccurring, and then you see the Land of the Morning Light bosses. You do 4 of them every week, and you have a chance to get a crystal from that. Plus, I believe you get a chance to get them from, the party bosses, the Black Shrine, and everything else. So there's a lot of ways to get it, but I think the ones you guys should start checking out now, and I have a feeling it might go up, well, not go up, but there'll be more orders in the future, are the expensive ones. So like all AP, you might want to start putting an order on it right now. There's only 36, so that means it's not too bad to get now. Back attack does kind of have a lot more, and so if you get a back attack one, you might want to keep it. So I have a feeling eventually they might raise the price of this from 1 billion to like, I don't know, 2 billion or something. Nothing crazy, but it's probably worth raising the price. And everything else you could probably get without too much trouble. They're going to be removing the green ones, and basically these are what I have for what I'm prepared for Sovereign Offhand. Another Black Spirit Rage, another crit damage, a back attack, and I have 3 all damage reductions. I actually bought some of these because I was thinking about switching all 3 of them from crit rate. It's a little bit less damage, but I think I could do a little bit of a trade-off as of next week. And of course, an all AP, that one is basically mandatory for every class. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that and just tell you guys to start preparing. Whether you're getting into Sovereign, Sovereign is the only ones that can use it right now. So you see the blue text at the bottom. the Reforge. You can use 5 crystals or 5 stones. They all have to be different. You can't stack like straight up 15 AP. That would be kind of insane. But I think eventually they should let you do that, because eventually I feel like if you want variety, you would have to like buff everything. But it is what it is. I think I might just swap out crit rate, even though I think I can actually do it. I think I'm actually overcapped and realistically would only need 1. But let me actually check this. So I believe the worst skill that I have, or like the skill I use the most, is like a 50%, right? Which is like Wheel of Fortune. Everything else is low damage, but ultimately 50%, the lowest one I have. And let's add this one, another 30 if you're using this on cooldown. Usually I'm pretty good about keeping my add-on buffs up, so that would be 80, assuming the worst. And then here's how you can get 5. You get 3 by default, and then like food buffs and everything give another +2. Or another way you can do it is there are crystals you can put in your middle slot for your outfit. There's 2 options: movement speed and +1 crit. I value movement speed a lot higher. I think a lot of endgame players value the movement speed more than crit, because you can cap crit like just using a cron meal or something. But either way, neither of these are too super important. I think just movement speed is overall better. So that's another 18%, so that'd be 68. 2 of these would be 78, and then I'd be at 108 with 2 crystals, assuming the formula is additive and not like drop rate bonus where it's like multiplicative. So yeah, I think realistically for DK, at the very worst, you only need 1 crit rate, and then you can put damage reduction in. But you never know. If you're PvPing, like all these formulas just go out the window and you build differently. But we're talking about PvE here. So yeah, that's how I prepared. Just wanted to give you guys a PSA. You guys should start putting orders on your crystals too, especially if you don't have any, instead of just, you know, preparing for 1 set in the future. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys come back, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.